In this how-to video, you're going to learn how to follow Pemdas to solve a problem. You can jump to the slide that you would like to see each type of example, or you can go through each slide one at a time. In this Pemdas example, we're going to solve the whole thing, but we're going to talk about how you should be training your brain anytime you're doing a Pemdas problem. So the first thing that you want to do is start at the beginning, literally put your finger on the paper and look to scan through. The first thing that you're doing is you're scanning through to see if there are any parentheses, because that's the first step of Pemdas. As I scan through, you see there are none. So when I'm done, I swing back to the start. Now this time I'm scanning through and I'm looking for exponents, and as soon as I hit them, I'm going to stop. So I do see exponents right here. It says 3 squared, so I'm going to do that step. Don't forget that when you're doing exponents, it means to do 3 times 3 and not 3 times 2. So I'm not using that 27 yet, so that will come straight down. 3 to the second power is 9 times 2 minus 3. The other thing that you want to do when you're doing Pemdas problems is work in that vertical format, rewrite everything that you haven't done yet, only making that change of the one step that you've done. As you work, your problem should tend to become more triangular and get smaller and smaller. So that time I scanned through looking for exponents, so now I'm going to go back to the beginning, and this time I'm actually looking for two things. I can look for multiplication or division. Don't forget, those are the two you do left to right. So as I scan through, I stop because I see division. So I'm going to do 27 divided by 9, which would be 3, times 2 minus 3. Even though there was division and multiplication, the division came first because it came first left to right. So now I swing back to the start, and this time I'm scanning through. I'm still looking for multiplication or division because I haven't yet eliminated all of those. So as I go through, I see multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. Bring down the minus 3, and obviously I only have one step left. This example has multiple sets of parentheses. Even though here are technically brackets, they're still part of parentheses or grouping symbols in PEMDAS. And then once you're in the parentheses, we actually see that we have division, but we have parentheses again. So anytime you have parentheses, it resets. So inside, you would start from parentheses, exponents, you would follow right down the line. So I'm actually going to start with the farthest most inside parentheses, which is that 2 plus 6. So 2 plus 6 is 8, everything else comes down. Another thing to think about with parentheses is you can't get rid of them until there's only one thing inside. So these brackets I can't get rid of yet because there's 2 items inside. I could have put the 8 inside parentheses because that's what it was surrounded by. But since they're there, since there's only one thing in there, I can just get rid of them. So then I'm going to go with my 32 divided by 8 because I have multiplication and division, but the division is inside a grouping symbol, inside parentheses. So now I have 3 times 4, final answer of 12. So here's an example. I just want to go straight through. I'm looking for parentheses. I don't have any, but I do see exponents, so I'm going to do that. Everything else will come straight down. 6 plus 12 divided by 3 times 16. Be careful here. What tends to happen is sometimes people do 3 times 4 first. This exponent is only attached to that 4. This multiplication comes after that exponent, so we're going to do that first. Scanning through, I'm looking for multiplication or division. I see it right here. Even though it's division, it comes first, so we're going to do that first. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then times 16. My two options are addition or multiplication, so I'm going to do that multiplication first. 6 plus 64, final answer of 70. Here's an example where we're separated by a fraction bar, and I also included the idea of substitution in evaluating. So the first thing you would actually do in a problem like this is you're just going to replace x with its value of 3. So 10 times 3, and then 2, and then in parentheses we have 3 plus 2. When you have a fraction bar separating an order of operations problem, you do everything on the top and then everything on the bottom before you continue. So I can actually do that in one step. I'm going to do 10 times 3, which is 30. And on the bottom, I have two options. I have multiplication and I have addition. But since the addition is in parentheses, that comes first. 2 times 5. So now I have 30 over 2 times 5 is 10. Final answer of 3.